So I saw the trailer for Cruella while I was at Wrath of Man, and I thought it would be like a Disney villain backstory like Maleficent, but sassy like The Devil Wears Prada. And I'll watch anything with Emma Stone in it, but I went to see it and there were some things that didn't really sit right with me, like things that will leave you confused when you leave the theater, like, am I supposed to be rooting for this main character? Can't really tell. Should you watch this movie? That depends. If you're expecting Maleficent meets The Devil Wears Prada, you're going to be disappointed. But it has some fun moments, like some capers, some fancy clothes, and a lot of dogs. Like, if you like dogs, everybody in this movie has a magical, non-aging dog that stays the same age over a 10-year time jump. We have like this little dog who likes to rob people, these Dalmatians that are built like pit bulls. Even Cruella de Vil has a pet dog. Yeah, Cruella de Vil, who makes clothes out of dogs, has a pet like Min Pin that evolves into this terrier thing. And if you like the characters from 101 Dalmatians, boy, is this the movie for you. It's like they took every named character in 101 Dalmatians and thought, how can we make a movie combining all these characters in one story? Except you, Nanny. Sorry, Nanny. Should you go to the theater to see this movie? Ironically, yes, if you want to see it before August 27th, because a matinee ticket is $5.75 and watching Cruella on Disney Plus costs $29.99. Like, who puts ads on a service you already pay for? This hurts my heart, Disney. I mean, I'm sorry Disneyland didn't make any money last year, but come on! Overall, you might enjoy it, but don't pay $30 for it. Jesus Christ. Okay, spoilers follow, so come back to this video after you've seen Cruella if you don't want spoilers. So then I'll see you on August 27th. Bye! Cruella is the story of Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians. She was born as Estella, a breech birth with black and white hair who was raised by her single mother. The opening sequence is this narrated montage about Estella growing up and going to a fancy private school.
Remember, you belong here as much as anyone.
But don't worry, she's not rich. Ew. Gross. She gets bullied a lot, but retaliates against her bullies one too many times and gets expelled from school. And it's kind of funny, there's this joke about a blot on her permanent record being a literal blot on her permanent record. This montage also establishes that Estella has a mean streak.
That's ugly.
Or like a narcissism streak.
Or genius.
The first thing you ever see Estella do is criticize her mother's sewing pattern and rip it apart.
Her name's Estella, not Cruella.
Her mom is actually the one who started calling her Cruella when she's being mean. As if when she's being mean, she's a different person.
What do you say to Cruella when she tries to get the better of you?
More on that later. I want to talk for a sec about likable main characters. It's important that when you're watching a movie, you like the main character right from the get-go. Otherwise, you're watching the movie, watching the character's story play out, and you're like, why do I want this person to succeed? Like, why am I watching this? This principle is sometimes called Save the Cat, from the title of this book by Blake Snyder. Maybe the main character is a mega jerk, but you see him rescue a cat right in the beginning of the story, so you think, okay, maybe he has a nice side. I like him, I'm invested in seeing him succeed. Estella seems to have a save the cat moment when she gets thrown into a dumpster and takes home this stray dog she finds in the dumpster. I guess the screenwriters took the title of the book literally and thought, better have her save a dog so she's likable. Not that the save the cat moment can't be literal. Take this guy Lister in the British sitcom Red Dwarf. He gets in trouble for taking his cat on a spaceship. Or in Alien, speaking of cats on spaceships, it's not at the beginning of the movie, but Ripley makes sure to save this cat Jonesy, even though there's a scary alien around. I think these moments work because there's a cost to saving the cat. Like Lister got in trouble for bringing his cat on this spaceship, and Ripley made sure to save Jonesy even though there's a big alien stalking her. But Estella pulling a dog out of a trash can is not really the same thing. There's no cost. It's not like she's allergic to dogs and she saved him anyway and had to suffer through her terrible allergies in order to keep him. She just takes home the dog and then kind of bullies her mom into keeping it. This is a dog!
Buddy, I found him.
One could argue that Estella is still likable despite the save the cat moment. After all, she's from a lower class family going to this fancy private school full of rich kids where she's the only one getting in trouble even though somebody else is starting all the fights. That's sympathetic, right? But that's not really about Estella at all. Those are just things that are happening to her. Estella herself is rude, confrontational, and unapologetic. A lot of the trouble she gets in, she brings upon herself by acting like an asshole rebel. So this, to me, is mixed messaging. Like, the movie thinks it's showing you a spunky heroine who won't let the haters get her down, but it's really just showing you somebody who probably has a narcissism problem, and it doesn't understand the difference between those two things. So, with too many blots on her permanent record, Estella has to leave the fancy school, so her mom prepares to move the family to London. She stops at this fancy manor Hellman Hall to ask a rich person for money, and you get the sense that Estella's parentage is involved somehow.
And I will keep my mouth shut. and I will never come back here.
Maybe Estella's father was a wayward son of Hellman Hall? But Estella's mom is killed when these mean Dalmatians knock her off a cliff. Estella runs away and rides a garbage truck to London, where she meets Horace and Jasper. They form a little gang and grow up together scamming people. Horace and Jasper are actually the two most competent criminals in the world, pulling off everything from pickpocketing to home invasion to full-on rock concerts. They're also very nice to her. Jasper is so nice that he submits her resume to a fancy department store so she can get a real job, her dream job, even though this would leave her with less time to do scams with him.
I love liberty.
Yeah, I know you do. I see you look at it every time we pass.
Just direct benefit to Estella, active sacrifice on Jasper's part. So Estella starts work at the department store. Even though she starts out cleaning bathrooms, her fashion genius cannot be contained, and she rearranges the display window at the department store. This catches the eye of the big dog, the Baroness. Estella's relationship with the Baroness constitutes the bulk of the movie, so here's what happens. The Baroness admires Estella's drunken work on the department store display and hires her. Estella works for the Baroness as a designer and kind of a secretary. The Baroness is a dick, but she respects Estella's work, and they seem to have good rapport. Estella notices that the Baroness has her mother's necklace. The Baroness says that the necklace had been stolen years before by a servant, who later tried to shake her down. So Estella channels her Cruella personality to distract the Baroness at a ball, while Horace and Jasper steal the necklace. When the Baroness blows her dog whistle, Estella realizes that the Baroness killed her mother by sicking the Dalmatians on her with the whistle. Cruella torments the Baroness at various fashion events while the Baroness is preparing the biggest event of the year, the spring collection. Desperate to have a good spring collection, the Baroness steals Estella's designs, which she says she can do because it's in Estella's employment contract. And I mean, I don't know how I feel about people breaking contracts and then whining when something unfair happens to them, but the point is we've gone from your mother is bad to I killed your mother to I stole your designs. Like it's escalating, and then it's not. It turns out Estella's design for the spring collection was really just this long con where the beads on the dress were like these little cocoons that hatched into moths that ate up the rest of the spring collection. That's pretty cool, I wasn't expecting that. Now the Baroness knows Estella and Cruella are the same person, so the Baroness goes to Estella's house, arrests Horace and Jasper, and tries to burn Estella alive. I don't know what Estella thought was going to happen since she had blown her cover by destroying the spring collection. The Baroness's valet saves Estella and explains her tragic backstory. It turns out that the Baroness was really Estella's biological mother all along, and she tried to have her kill as a baby. This feels a little over the top, like, oh my god, she killed a baby! Like, did she sacrifice kittens too? Like, it's one of those comic book evil things, like, I stole the moon. Except stealing the moon is intentionally over the top and funny, but this is played totally seriously. And part of this is that not only did the Baroness attempt to kill the baby, they really emphasize that she didn't want the baby in the first place.
She's a true narcissist. So when she found out she was pregnant,
I'm pregnant.
she wasn't exactly thrilled.
This is kind of a weird statement. It's not straight up saying that women who don't want to have children are narcissists, but it's not like this is a complex character who is deciding not to have children as one of many aspects of her personality. Everything she does is a blown up caricature of selfishness. So to have not wanting children be part of that caricature seems a little off to me. Like, hey little girls watching this movie, nice women want to have babies. Anyway, the valet saved baby Estella by giving her to this maid Catherine, and that's who Estella knew as her mother for her entire life. Estella went to school, Estella got expelled from school, and Catherine went back to the Baroness to ask for money to move to London. So that scene in the beginning, from the Baroness's point of view, is like her servant Catherine comes back after 10 years saying, I have been raising your daughter, and we need to move to London, so I'd like a one-time relocation payment in order to move to London. The Baroness thinks Catherine is lying, so she has her dogs knock Catherine off the cliff. But still, it's weird the Baroness wasn't more suspicious that it was actually her daughter. Estella was spotted at the party, so she thought Catherine just happened to have a daughter with the same name, age, and hair colors. I mean, the name Estella is even on the birth certificate. She didn't think it was weird when an adult Estella of the exact right age just showed up out of the blue.
Coincidence.
Anyway, back in the present, Estella breaks Horace and Jasper out of jail, and they don't want to talk to her anymore, but she's like, I was only acting out because I found out the Baroness is my real mother and tried to have me killed as a baby. So the gang gets back together. They stage one last con, where Estella lures the Baroness to the cliff, knowing that the Baroness will attempt to murder her, organizes an audience for said murder, and then fakes her death. Before this, Estella had left all her possessions to Cruella, so the Baroness goes to jail and Cruella now inherits Hellman Hall, and moves in with Horace, Jasper, and all the dogs. And the valet John. And her gay best friend Artie? Seriously, why is Artie in this movie? I can tell you why Nigel is in Devil Wears Prada. Similar setup. Wide-eyed girl enters the fashion world and has no idea what she's getting into, makes a nice gay friend, changes herself in order to move up, eventually becomes the thing she despised in the beginning. but Nigel is an essential part of that transformation. He's the only person nice to her in the beginning, and he's the one the big dog Miranda screws over in order to save her own job. It's this screwing over that makes the main character realize that she has also screwed people over and become the thing she used to despise. Artie is just like, there. He owns a clothing store, I guess, so he's like her Chanel gown dealer / clothing designer. Except Estella is already a clothing designer, so maybe she just needed more hands on deck for her big Cruella stunts. So, when you watch a prequel to 101 Dalmatians that is about the villain, you think they'd be trying to answer the question, how did the villain get to be the way they are? Maleficent got a lot of hate, but at least it set up some proper motivation and answered the question, why did a random witch curse a baby princess? When you watch 101 Dalmatians, it seems like the question you might be asking is, why is Cruella so obsessed with making a coat out of puppy fur? The terribly reviewed 101 Dalmatians TV show at least answered this question. But the movie Cruella sets up Estella as someone who likes dogs, and has dogs right from the beginning, almost as if someone who would make a coat out of puppy fur is just too horrible to even entertain the notion. So how does she become the mean, fur-obsessed Cruella in 101 Dalmatians? We don't really know. So why is Cruella so obsessed with making a coat out of puppy fur? I don't know. Did you make sure to get Roger in there? Maybe Dalmatians have wronged her somehow. What about Anita? Did you get Anita? Maybe Dalmatians killed her mother, and now she hates Dalmatians. No, she can't be a dog hater. Make sure they know she's not a dog hater. In fact, let's give her a pet dog. Okay, cool. Pet dog. Should she have other likable characteristics? Make sure they know that Pongo and Perdita are siblings. Put it in a post-credits scene. This movie left me with a lot of lingering questions like, does Cruella stop abusing Jasper? Why does Jasper put up with this? You deserve better, Jasper! There's conflict about if Estella is Estella or Cruella. Cruella emerges as this split personality she has to get things done.
Cruella gets things done.
Even though Estella was also moving up in the fashion world and seemed to get a lot of things done. But Cruella is not only tormenting the Baroness, she's also acting like a dick to Horace and Jasper. They go along with it because Estella keeps finding out worse and worse things about her past. Oh, the Baroness said my mom was a thief. Oh, the Baroness killed my mom. When they finally try to leave, she reels them back in. Oh, the Baroness is my mom and tried to kill me. It's like this cycle of pity, abuse, and then when they try to leave, some new reason they can't leave her right now. Gosh, it'd be bad if we left, right? When she just found out her real mom tried to kill her.
You have to take me back. You have to. I'm gonna kill myself, honey.
This is a real-world abuse cycle that actually happens, so I felt a little weird about the movie ignoring the fact that this is bad and Horace and Jasper should leave. Instead, the Cruella personality is kind of played like a running gag.
If I'm going to need to repeat myself a lot, this isn't going to work out.
Like, oh, look at her, she's sassy now. Jasper keeps saying to her, you can't treat us like this, and nothing happens. There's no resolution. Estella keeps acting like Cruella, Horace and Jasper don't leave, and they all stay together until the events of 101 Dalmatians. So Estella has this entire other personality that's vengeful and abusive. She has hair that's 2 different colors. The whole thing has this flavor of bipolar disorder or dissociative identity disorder. So you have a character with a mental illness, and you make her over-the-top abusive, and everyone who stays with her does so out of pity, spending their entire lives being unappreciated and taken advantage of. That's I guess you can say that in a movie, but it's a harmful caricature, so you might want to make sure that's actually what you want to say, and not just a byproduct of unresolved storylines and sassy one-liners. So, Cruella gave me a lot of mixed messages, and you definitely leave the theater feeling like you watched a movie that didn't really know what it was saying. But hey, dogs! You like dogs? Look, this dog has an eye patch! And look, these dogs that later get married are siblings. Can't wait to see how those puppies turn out. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what reviews you'd like to see next. I will go to the theater for you and watch those horrible movies, as long as I don't have to see 8 other movies first.